Ladies and gentlemen, please stand as we acknowledge His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali, President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. Please remain.
Thank you very kindly for those very kind words. Please have your seats. It is with great honor and pride that I join you this afternoon with our Honorable Prime Minister, retired Brigadier Mark Phillips, Minister of Education, Minister Robson Ben, the Regional Chairman of Region 4, our head teacher, former head teacher, permanent secretaries of different ministries, the CEO, leaders in the Ministry of Education, our distinguished teachers and students, and importantly, the parents of our students. All of you, good afternoon, and it's my deepest honor to be before you this afternoon. Sometimes we ask ourselves, what is the purpose of education, and at what point does education bring diminishing returns? For those who love economics, the concept of diminishing returns is a real concept. And it is believed that when you're at a point in which investment brings diminishing return, you should realize that that is the point when you maybe just stop and take the returns at that point. But we live in a different era today. In an era where education has become a lifelong journey. And if you're not in a constant state of learning, then you will not be in a position to compete with a changing world. And maybe the best example of this is our grandparents. I see one of our elders there. And to look at their own lives and to see how they had to transform themselves into understanding technology and using technology and adapting to technology as, in some cases, a partner through which they pass their day and keep connected with their loved ones and families. I've seen this with my 92-year-old grandmother who is on Facebook, who is on Instagram, and who does not miss a beat in returning to WhatsApp, and she's in every single WhatsApp group you can think of. So that tells you that the world that we're living in is an evolving one. And education today is a different concept all by itself. Even in my own job, every day, for us to remain relevant, we have to learn, to unlearn, to relearn. And that is important. As our country continues to advance, so too must the system of education. And a part of that system is the facilities that deliver this education product to our children. I have had the opportunity to pass this building many times, to work next to this building once in my life at the park and down the road, and also to see the phase of reconstruction, the different phases of reconstruction. And those who did not know that this was a school would ask me, is it another hotel going up there? Is it a major office block that is going up there? And when we say to them, I remember two particular prime ministers of the region, when I told them that that is a new school we're rebuilding, they could not believe the type of construction and quality that was going into this reconstruction. But that is a future that we have to build. A future that is stronger, safer, more integrated, one that adopts the best technology, the best systems, and of course, in education, offers us a good environment through which we can learn. So just 2.5 years ago, this very institution, Christ Church Secondary School, was a victim of a vicious act, maliciously set on fire. A cruel hand was dealt to the school, its students and its staff. In a matter of hours, decades of memories, tradition, and dreams were reduced to ashes. The blaze disrupted not only a physical structure, but the academic path of hundreds of students. It fractured routine, halted progress, and cast uncertainty over the future of a cherished educational community. But today, with hearts full of pride and eyes lifted toward promise, we declare without hesitation and without apology, Christ Church is back and back in business. The business of education, empowerment, and enlightenment. So let us first take a step back in time and recall the proud traditions of this great school. A school that has always stood as a pillar of access, equity, and opportunity. I want to take a step back in time so that you can understand the context in which the school was established. You see, Christ Church Secondary School was a pace setter, a forerunner in a grand national project to open the doors of secondary education to the sons and daughters of working class families. The vision had been conceived under Dr. Jagan governments from the 1950s through to 1964. That vision was driven by the idea that education should never be the preserve of the privilege of a privileged few, but the right of the many. During that period, which was before independence, note this, during that period, which was before independence, the number of government secondary schools expanded from just 2 to 10. Secondary school scholarships, which numbered only 12 in 1952, had grown to over 200 by 1963. Importantly, scholarship students were given preference for placement in the country's premier institutions, Queen's and Bishop, bishops in particular. Equally impressive was the emphasis on teacher training. The number of teachers receiving formal training annually rose from 30 to 150, with a bold plan that by 1970, every teacher in both public and private schools would be trained. In 1963, the University of Guyana and the School of Agriculture were established. The era, therefore, that gave birth to Christ Church Secondary School was one of educational empowerment, and one that also saw establishment of a number of educational establishments and other investments in education. Prior to that era, secondary education in Guyana was more a hope than a reality for most children. There were secondary schools, but these were too few to meet the growing hunger for secondary education. Some of these were private secondary schools, which required the payment of fees, something that shut out many poor students. A select number of primary schools maintained secondary departments, small wings of extended learning, often under-resourced and inadequate for true academic development, were the order of the day. Christ Church School and St. George's Anglican School both house such departments. And that is a historical context of what we celebrate today. And children, many of you may sometimes believe, because of the opportunity you have today, that for some reason our elders did not excel or did not do as great as you're doing. That was not the case. They never had the opportunity that you have today. And you must not misplace that opportunity. You must understand the responsibility that comes with this opportunity. Otherwise, we can easily squander the opportunities that are before us. It was decided in 1964 to merge the departments of these two schools, that is, Christ Church School and St. George's Anglican School, to form a dedicated secondary institution, and thus was born the original Christ Church Secondary. But that dream, like so many in our post-independence years, was tested. Indeed, almost dismantled. By 1992, nearly 3 decades later, only 45% of Guyanese children of secondary school age were enrolled in secondary schools. And the picture was even bleaker in the hinterland, where secondary school was sparse or non-existent. We faced a crisis, but out of that crisis, a commitment was born. Since 1992, we have worked painstakingly to expand access to secondary education. In every region, in every community, we refuse to accept that any child should be left behind simply because of geography or poverty. It has been a long and difficult road, but it has been worth every investment and every sacrifice. And in the past 5 years, that work has not just continued, it has accelerated at a rapid pace. Today, across this country, more than 20 new secondary schools are under construction and counting. Hundreds of schools are being rehabilitated. That's new secondary. When we look at extension of secondary schools, it's 40 actually new and extended secondary schools. 40. We have hundreds of schools that are now being completely rehabilitated, enhanced with, with an important aspect of national development. That is the addition of labs and practical instruction centers. Two key investments for the future of our country. So we're not only looking at the what we can say the standard academic model, we are looking at ensuring our children are given an opportunity in every form of upliftment through educational opportunity. That is why the PICs are so important. That is why the labs are so important, not only to graduate our doctors and so on, but to help to develop the innovative, creative ability of our children. And this investment is key for the holistic education delivery that we want our children to enjoy. So yes, we face a crisis, but as I said, out of crisis, a commitment was born. So today, as we continue to celebrate these new schools all across our country, and in education alone, if I'm to spend every single day remaining in this year to either turn the sod, cut the ribbon for a new or a rehabilitative school or a lab or a technical addition to that school, every single day will be in an education institution across this country, every single day. These are not just buildings, they are bridges to opportunity. They are decorations that every child matters, no matter where they are born or what their last name is. Just days ago, I had the privilege of opening the new St. George's School of Sciences. And in every corner of Guyana, from the coast to the savannas, I've been opening doors. Doors that will never again be closed to our young people, and this is important. Doors that will be never again closed to our young people. Our target is clear: universal secondary education by the end of next year. Universal secondary education by the end of next year. That is not a slogan, it is a solemn commitment. And by the end of this year, we aim to have 100% of our teachers either trained or in training, because quality education demands not just access to buildings, but to train teachers. And here is it, that we are incentivizing training. Not only are we giving our teachers the opportunity to be trained, but we are giving additional allowances when you're trained. And we went a step further. For those who are trained, we give you an opportunity in your normal course of life through the GOLD program to earn your degree, your master's degree, and your PhDs, and with every new academic qualification, you get an allowance to back the investment. Because we are incentivizing the system for you to invest in yourselves too. Because when you invest, when teachers invest in themselves, that investment comes to the classroom. That investment comes to every single child. So it is not for teachers, the investment we make in you is quite, has a quite larger multiplier effect. Now, we also are very much aware that many of our young people are in the teaching profession today. And I have had an opportunity to speak to many young women, mostly, in the teaching profession. And over the last 3 months, I've heard a kind of common theme throughout the conversation. That is, we are postponing our family life. We are postponing our building our own family. And I sought to analyze what can we do to ensure that our teachers don't have to postpone an important part of living a quality life. And one of the big reasons is child care facilities. Because young teachers, especially female, they cannot come up with a formula through which they can take care of their babies and children whilst they're in school. Am I not right, teachers? I see many of you nodding your heads. So we have decided that as we confront this challenge, not only for teachers, but for young professionals, we have to make a series of investment across the country in child care facility that will enable our young people, that would enable our young professionals to pursue their career and pursue their jobs without postponing other important aspects of a quality life. So that is something we have decided that we're going to make targeted and serious investment in child care, child-friendly environment to support our young professionals, especially women in our society. So as I said, our target is clear: universal secondary education by the end of next year. 100% trained or in training teachers by the end of this year, or teachers in training. Now you may ask, why this investment? You may ask, why this investment in achieving universal secondary education? Because secondary education is no longer a luxury, and I want us to understand this. It is a necessity. It is no longer optional. It is mandatory for survival and success in today's world. If you look at some of the jobs today, and you look at 10 years ago, those jobs would have required 5 or 6 subjects CXC. Those jobs are now requiring a first degree. And jobs that require a first degree are requiring a master's. That is just all about human development, advancement, and competition. So secondary education is no longer a luxury. This is a necessity. It's mandatory for survival and success in today's world. We are living in an era and an age defined by information, innovation, and imagination. The world is no longer powered simply by oil and ore, but by ideas, inventions, innovations, and intellect. And to compete, to thrive, to lead in this world of ideas, inventions, innovations, and intellect, we must equip our young people with the competencies of the 21st century: critical thinking, analytical reasoning, communication, and problem solving. Secondary education is a bridge between childhood and citizenship. A very important concept. Secondary education is that bridge between childhood and citizenship. Because think about the age our children enter the secondary system, and at the end of it, the level of maturity that they're prepared for in entering a new era of their life. So secondary education is that bridge between childhood and citizenship. It is a foundation upon which careers are built and nations are developed. It is the gateway to higher education, and with it, upward mobility, entrepreneurship, and economic independence. But that is not all. Secondary education nurtures lifelong learners. In a world where technology is evolving faster than textbooks can be printed, the ability to keep learning is essential. And that journey begins here in schools like Christ Church. Secondary education closes divides. It bridges the gaps between rich and poor, male and female, urban and rural. It is the single most powerful weapon we have against inequality. And yes, secondary education drives economic growth. An educated workforce attracts investment, boosts productivity, and ensures that development is not a privilege, but a shared national experience. If Guyana is to be taken seriously on the world stage, If we are to be more than a resource-rich nation, then universal secondary education must not just be a goal, it must be a given. If Guyana is to be a global leader in education services, then universal secondary education must no longer be delayed. And that is why we are making the enormous investments we are making to ensure universal access to secondary education. Let me put things into perspective. As of 2023, nearly 16.1% of school-age children around the world, some 250 million young persons were out of school. 250 million out of school. Among adolescents, the numbers are even more alarming. 14% of lower secondary age youth, that is 12 to 14, and 30% of upper secondary age youths, that is 15 to 17, are out of school. Just take those numbers in for a moment. And that would allow us to appreciate what we're building here. That would allow us to be grateful that our nation can give us what we are achieving here today. These are not just numbers. They are futures at risk, potential wasted, hope deferred. We in Guyana refuse to be part of these statistics. We will not allow our young people to fall into the cracks of neglect and underinvestment. And we said that our prosperity must lead to regional prosperity. That is why the Guyana Digital School that we are launching will also be available and accessible to every single child in the Caribbean. We want them to be part of it. We want all of the region to rise with us. This new Christchurch Secondary School stands as a monument to that refusal. Christchurch Secondary School is a signal that the dream of the 50s is not dead. It is alive and it is gaining momentum. To the students who now walk through these doors, I say this: a great future awaits you in Guyana, but don't wait for it to come to you. The opportunities will not fall into your lap. You must reach, you must rise, and you must prepare yourselves. Seize the moment, seize the education, for in your hands rests not just your own destiny, but the destiny of our nation. You're not just being given, you're not being given access alone, you're being given excellence. This government is not simply building schools, it is fashioning a world-class education system so that you can be the best you can be. The fire of 2023 tried to silence Christchurch, but what has risen? Not only beauty and pride, but hearts, lives, and our children, most importantly. Stronger, prouder, more determined. Let the world know Christchurch is back, back in business. Back in the business of shaping minds, uplifting communities, and building the Guyana we all dream of. May the flame of knowledge burn brighter. May the flame of knowledge burn brighter than the fire of destruction. May the flame of knowledge burn brighter than the fire of destruction. And may this school forever stand resilient, relevant, and ready. And as we confront the future, you can be assured of our commitment to invest in our teachers, not only for better salaries, but for a better welfare, better conditions of work, and a holistic development for you and your families. Of course, enhancement of the Because We Care grant, transportation, a new transportation allowance that will be given to our children, teachers' education allowance, uniform allowance, a nutritional program that will enable our children to learn not only in a good environment, but with a nutritious diet and healthy bodies. Textbooks, more centers for the expansion of science education, PICs, and of course, you can look for the expansion of our CXC grants, the 8-subject CXC that we'll pay for. And I want today to make it very clear that those students who paid for this year's CXC, that you will have your full reimbursement for the 8 subjects. The full reimbursement for the 8 subjects. That is why when the minister said we just don't promise, we keep our commitment. That was a commitment I made, and we are keeping those commitments. The free university education, technical education, education in nursing. We want our young people to embrace these opportunities. Expanded access, tertiary education, and of course, co-investment opportunities. We want to work with, when I said that we want to enhance income, opportunity, it is not only about salaries. It's about how we can work with our teachers, how we can work with our farmers, how we can work with our public servants, how we can work with all of these persons and enhance their revenue base, their salary, their income base, so that it's not only salary dependent, so that we can bring co-investment opportunities with you, so that we can increase the net value of your assets, and you can deploy those assets to get capital, to get liquidity, to invest in our country, invest in our economy, so you get greater return, you get long-term prosperity for you and your families. That is what you're doing. Over the last 3 years, I've been actively working on finding an insurance mechanism for our rice farmers. And everybody said to me, it can't be done. Nobody would insure the rice farmers. We're below sea level. You know, we have climate change. We're susceptible. We're the most vulnerable country to climate change. And I stuck at it. We stuck at it. I told the Minister of Agriculture, we will not fail. We're going to go. Every single door I knocked on, every single global leader, financial institution, we went negotiating. And just today, we are right there, ink on paper, not only ready to give 6,000 rice farmers insurance over the next 3 years in a phased way, but I got the funding to give them that insurance. I got the funding to give them that insurance. When the world doubts us, that's even more exciting, because we are energized to prove the naysayers wrong. The greatest energizer is when someone doubts the ability to achieve, the ability to win, the ability to succeed, the ability to be ahead of the race. And those who doubt Guyana, I'm telling you, you're making a grave mistake, because we are going to be not in competition, ahead of the competition in the next 5 years. And we are humble about it. We are humble about it. But if you think we are moving fast now, hold on to your seatbelts. The race has just begun. We are going to penetrate every single global opportunity and position Guyana ahead of every single competition that comes our way. That is my promise. More work, harder work, and greater love for this country and the people of our country. Because we can achieve every single thing. We can be the best we can be, the most prosperous. You can have everything in your home, but we can also have it all and not be happy. not be happy because we do not allow our hearts to be open enough to each other. We do not allow ourselves to love each other. We do not allow ourselves the opportunity to unite. The greatest gift we can pass on to the next generation of Guyanese is a strong and united Guyana. It is in our hands. We can choose to give the next generation that gift, or we can choose to give the next generation the problems we inherited. I believe we all have it in us to give the next generation that gift that would ensure we remain the strongest nation here on this globe. Thank you, and may God bless Christ Church Secondary School. May God bless the teachers, the children, and the parents of Christ Church Secondary School. And may God bless the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. Thank you very much, and God bless all of you.
You may be seated. As we bring this occasion to a close, we extend our heartfelt appreciation to all who have made today possible, His Excellency, all honorable ministers, and all other valued stakeholders. Your continued support and presence mean more than words can express. A special and sincere thank you to Ms. Blossom and the dedicated staff of CPCE for your commitment and support to the staff and students of Christ Church Secondary School. Thank you.
We're now approaching a very special moment in today's proceedings, the cutting of the ribbon and unveiling of the commemorative plaque. At this moment, we ask all dignitaries to begin making their way to the foyer to witness this historic milestone.
And he didn't win.
Here we have one of our grade 10 visual arts students who is doing a painting on the different departments that Christ Church comprises of, which are, of course, the Allied Arts Department, the the science department, the home economics department, and so forth. These are some of the pieces from previous and former students. Moving this way, we have some of our textile students and education students who will be discussing some of the tools. We have another grade 10 student who is currently working on
Very nice.
You design and draw pencil?
Yes.
Yeah?
Big career ahead.
This way we have some other pieces and another grade 10 student who will be discussing some of
Very good.
You want to take it off, sir? Go with sir first and then
Pressure. Use the most champions.
right now?
Yeah. Yeah, you're practicing. So let me go by. Let's go now. Take it easy, right? Man, serious, right? Yeah. Let's see if we can get it.
Oh, he's good.
Yeah, move here, you don't move here.
It's actually very good.
Step up. Nice.
More practice than we were reading it out.
Don't even keep the hand yourself there. Jump warm it up, warm it up. Yeah, nice. That's good. That's good. Singularly has the most perfect image.
This school?
Yeah. Rich history.
Sir, we got a school tour. Like this.
Yeah. You're aggressive. Aggressive. Wow. is my
Welcome you to one of the science labs in the science department, and I will right now here we have
Yeah, what the?
and here we have the whole table showing the different categories of science. Here is chemistry, down there is physics, and here is English. Here we have integrated science, and here we have
secondary class in science. It's an honor to have you all here today on this special occasion and to especially welcome His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali. Today, my colleagues and I will
acidified potassium dichromate. This chemical nature is iron. Then, introducing chemical gas, chemical plus. Hydrogen peroxide, same elements. This gives us an accumulation.
There is of mixing hydrogen peroxide and potassium chloride. Acidified potassium manganate is a clear solution.
hydrogen peroxide and decomposes by itself.
and the food goes into the trachea. The trachea is a long tube that uses gentle squeezing movements to push the food up into the stomach.
Wear this fancy something.
Oh, you made the hat. Wow. Are you selling? It's a whole business.
I would like to take this for your wife. Make sure she
Thank you. Nothing for you.
Oh, I should have some.
Thank you. This is a baby boss. Boss baby.
See, this is nice. Very nice. You do good work. So that's a little stress-free. No, my head is too big. But thank you for the offer.
What do we have here? This is a nice process. Go ahead. Give them some.
Steps taken first, wash fabric with any dirt. Step 2, twist and tie the fabric. Use a rubber band or string. Step 3, dip each section into the dye using different colors. Step 4, let the dye sit for 2 to 3 hours. Step 5, wash and tie this until it water.
I will show you this pattern. We have 4 patterns on display. This one is, this pattern is Musib.
Mosaic?
Yeah, Musib. Or pronounced as Mosaic.
Right.
This pattern is spiral.
Very good. Very good.
Actually, this pattern is
Very
front.
pretty like.
It's like a nice wrap on the edge.
And this pattern is and this pattern is open.
Ready?
Very good.
Yeah, very good.
It's good.
And it's deliberate.
You guys did it all by yourself? Very good.
Red onions. I wonder if I make it prettier if I can get my children to eat these things.
To do a school food festival.
Yeah. We should. We should. Yes.
There's come on, well, just like the highlights of some sample technologies that we can utilize by the information technology project. They teaching me more effective using this board, smart board, and a platform for those technologies to consolidate all these technologies together to make teaching more effortless, and of course, the students will get them out of one of them. The first element we need to look at is the foreign key. The foreign key, one-to-many relationship. This is our whiteboard, and of course, we have our browser. Show just now that one of the technologies is that these are our domain or subject area. Going to the grade, of course, that they're teaching and selecting subject material. I am information technology.
Single smart classroom in the country at North Rembelt, and they now have, under his leadership, more than 47 smart schools with smart classrooms and growing. His intention is every single high school must have boards like these in their classrooms with smart classrooms across the sector.
one of the things you have to look at, just like you do at the guidance teacher skills, is use more gaming into this more sterile type of.
And
A field in the students' table that categorizes students. Answer, sir.
Great. Name?
I don't know.
Great.
I don't know the
Great.
answer.
No, what's that?
Students. A
A
field
field in the students' table that
Oh,
categorizes students.
What's a field that you would use to categorize the students
Engaging, yeah.
So you'd have to
Yeah.
start.
from the beginning?
Yeah,
Right.
right.
So
With
let's
a
see
name
two
now.
down. Two down. The structure that defines the organization of a.
Huh? What's the structure? Great. 11 students at the back is just room 6.
What is it?
ID students sitting at the back.
The structure that defines the organization of.
Data is just a group of numbers, yes, and what is the table?
Oh, we have mostly divided students here.
Well, what is the table? What does it do to the data?
Correct. You're a good teacher.
Right? You have to organize the numbers now for it to make sense. Then you put it in a database table so that it makes sense. It can be easily read. You can draw analysis. Right? Right, sir? Yes, sir.
What's the answer?
All right, what's this one? Dom, an individual who is enrolled in a class within the database. Because of this, the question qualifies what you're looking for in a class. Right? So, that is why you have to read it carefully. An individual, so that's the first clue to the answer. The second clue is in the class. And just think about an individual in the class. Who is an individual in the class? A student. All right? So that's everybody. Immigration house? Yeah. You are. So just parking. Let me have a parking. Take a look at what she has right there. And Bobby can create parking. Not in the avenue. Not in the avenue, on the park itself. They made it nice with trees and stuff.
If we have this one going.